day. A month is much too much, or wouldn't you say? A second is too short, an eon too long. A week is just stupid, and so is this song. Ooh, everybody's got a half an hour. Haven't you got a half an hour? This bill only needs a half an hour. So come in and stay.
Live from Bangkok, Thailand, the video podcasting capital of the world, it's the Kirchenbauer Half an Hour. And I'm your host, Bill Kirchenbauer. Welcome to the show with me and along with Paul Brumbaugh, where our motto is, I talk to myself all the time anyway, so you might as well listen in. Song and music title by Jason Willett. He sings it and he wrote the song. My friend Mike Clark did the opening. A little credit to them. I haven't done that for a couple of shows. So we have Paul Brumbaugh and myself, Bill Kirchenbauer. Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in, all 55 of you. We got to get our numbers up.
It's a stampede. It's a slow running stampede.
But I got to tell you, the people I have heard from enjoy the show.
Right.
So, and you know what? They're there. They can start at any time and watch. It's like Breaking Bad. You don't have to have watched the one we did that week. You can just start watching number one at any point. So it's like Netflix, So anyway,
they're gonna binge watch, is what we're saying.
Yeah, they can binge watch. Yeah.
Okay.
I one thing I learned early in my comedy career was try not to be dated. Try not to do things that people are going to, look at in 10 years and go, huh? And I've seen a lot of that. That's why a lot of sitcoms kind of went out. It's because of references that are only so. So this will be relevant, I think, at any point. Maybe 50 years from now, no. I don't know. It'll have to be an HD hologram. Our subject today. And then I mentioned that we had a Ask Bill segment we're going to start doing. So, and I think this only has been announced this week. So if you have any questions, put them on the YouTube channel thing, and or contact me through my Facebook page and just ask me, tell me what the situation is, and I will give you some good advice. I'm not charging, so I'm not guaranteeing anything, but we're going to have an Ask Bill. Before I get to our main subject right now, I just want to mention one of my favorite writers, and I don't read I'm not one of these voracious readers, though I do read books, and according to American statistics, if I read one book a year, I'm ahead of the average person by a lot. But I do have a couple favorite authors. One of them is a guy named Bill Bryson. And Bill, I like Bill because Bill's name is Bill, and so is mine. He's about my age, but much smarter. And he's a writer. He's written many books, probably 20, 25 books. And he's American who had the honor to be put to the Cambridge. He took the place that Peter Ustinov had at Cambridge, which is some sort of there's a college name for it. I don't know what it is, but it's like chairman of the college or something. And he was an American in a British college, so that was an unusual thing. So he's a very smart guy. He writes all sorts of books, and I guarantee any of them that he probably the most famous book he wrote was the Long Walk. A Walk in the Woods. Thank you. A Walk in the Woods. And they've made that into a movie. It's about him and his buddy walking the Appalachian Trail. And on the surface, it doesn't seem much, but it's very entertaining. He did one of my favorite books that he did, because he and I are about the same age, as the Life and Times of the Thunderbolt Kid, which is about his childhood, which was my childhood, very much like it. But one book that he's written, probably the thickest book, if that's a credit, is this book, and I think it's gonna. Oh, it came out all right. Yeah, it's Bill Bryson, a short history of nearly everything. This is the. Oh, I can't find myself over here. Yeah. This is the 2.0. He wrote this originally about 10 years ago. And I read it then. And since then, as you know, a lot of stuff has changed in 10 years. So he wrote it again. And this is the 2.0 version of it. And I started to read it again. And it is, if you don't go to college, high school, read this book. If you don't go to any school at all, read this book. Well, if you don't go to any schools, you're not going to learn how to read, so that might be difficult. But if you're going to read a book this year, let's put it that way. If you're going to read a book this year or this week, read this book. It's a little thick, but it's pretty good title. A Short History of Nearly Everything, and that's truly what it is. He tells you in layman's terms how everything works, how we became to be, and how things work. He has a house. He has. I mean, he has books. He has a book called House, and you think, what is that? And it's about house, the homes we've lived in, from caveman to Victorian mansions. He explains the little rooms and stuff. He can take a subject that doesn't sound that interesting. He writes travel logs. He writes books about the English language and where our origination of our words and sayings come from. Very interesting. I guarantee you, if you picked up a book, even if you don't like to read books, pick up a book and one of his books and read it. He's very good. I recommend this one. This is maybe it's a little thick to start with. Start with the Thunderbolt Kid or one of his travel logs. Okay, we're done with that. I get no money from it. I get no credit. I just it's like I used to like to introduce people to Korean food.
Right.
Most people haven't eaten Korean food, and I go, "Hey, you want to eat? Have you ever had Korean food?" They go, "No, I've never had Korean." Come on, let me show you. And I take them to Korean food, and they go, "Wow, this is great!" So I get a little charge out of introducing people to stuff like that. Subject for today, Bill, Paul, and everyone else, is narcissism. Narcissism. Now, this word has been thrown around a lot in the last few years, and very often without people really truly knowing what it is. And I am going to talk about it because I, at the age of about 63, had to deal with a narcissist. Stupid, but it took me to 63 years old to figure out truly what I'd heard the word. I knew about Narcissus, whatever his name was, Narcissus, who saw his reflection in the water and became enamored with himself. And I don't know what happened anyway. I know about Achilles' heel too, but that's got nothing to do with it. Anyway, but I thought, and I went through life thinking it was just people that were vain. I would put that title on it. The title says people that are vain are narcissistic. No, there's a lot more to it than that. It's not just people that, and again, people throw the word around. Oh, you're a narcissist, and and a lot of people have big egos. A lot of people, think their shit don't stink, as my mother would say, and that's kind of just what that is. Narcissism is a human syndrome, personality syndrome, and it is much more deeper than they love themselves. It's a self-love. When in reality it's a self-hate is what it is. I discovered this and I've studied, and the reason I'm talking like this about it is that I've spent about 6 months studying it. So I got a doctorate in it. As far as I'm concerned, I just gave myself a doctorate in narcissism because I dealt with a guy in business who was a narcissist, and I didn't know it. I just thought he was a crazy asshole. And I was in a business, but not going to go into specifics. He's actually a personality, a celebrity, and he was doing terrible things. He was lying about money, and he was berating me and trying to tell me how to run my business, and berating and people we were working with, and just doing all this crazy shit, and just telling me that things weren't the way I knew they were, and finally I started making a list of all the crazy stuff he did. Like he tried to talk my headliner. I was producing the show. He tried to talk the headliner out of his hotel room, which was nicer than the one he had. And it's like going up to Sinatra. I go, hey Frank, would you sleep in my room tonight? I like yours better. But he would do all these crazy stuff, and finally he was driving me crazy. He was driving my wife crazy. I wouldn't sleep at night. He was just this terrible, crazy maniac. And I took this list. I made it had about 20 things, and I have about 3 people who are, one's a psychiatrist and 2 are psychologists. And I know enough about psychology that you really can't analyze somebody without meeting them and talking to them. But I called these 3 people up that I knew, and I said, "Look, I know this is hard to do without meeting or seeing a place, but I've been dealing with this guy, and he's got this thing. Let me read you some of the things he did." And I started reading. He did this, and all 3 of them, at about the 3rd or 4th one in, they said, "Stop. He's a narcissist." And I said, and I was amazed at the consistency. There wasn't like 3 different opinions, and they were all very quick. And they said, he's a narcissist. And I said, well, I had this feeling, and they said, no, this is a personality misalignment. It usually comes from parents who are narcissists, and narcissists. Well, not to get political or anything, but Donald Trump is a textbook narcissist, and they act like that. They lie all the time. They have to be in the spotlight. That people very often compare them to vampires, and they like to victimize people. They look at and they can be very charming at first. This is why Bill Maher got fooled when he went to have dinner with Trump. Bill wasn't read up enough about narcissism, because that's what they do. They can be very pleasant at times, but it's a show, and they have a whole thing that they do, like and they will suck the blood out of you. They will tell you things. The word gaslighting too has been overused a lot. There's an actual technical word from it. Comes from the Charlie Chaplin movie, City Lights, which means telling you that, ever heard the term "don't piss on my feet and tell me it's rain"? Well, that's what gaslighting is. Telling me you didn't say that. Well, we didn't agree to that. I never said that, when you did. And what happens is, if you're in a relationship, which is the worst form of dealing with a narcissist, is that you start to believe yourself. Am I crazy? You start to question your own sanity. And narcissists are just terrible. And again, not being political, but Trump is actually what Trump is if you look it up, he is what they call a dark triad. And it is a combination of psychopathy, Machiavellianism, I can't pronounce it, it's a big word, Machiavellianism, and narcissism. And it's a combination of these 3 traits that kind of form a perfect storm. And that's what Trump is. And particularly because he has money, he has power. It's one thing to be a narcissist and live in an apartment on the west side of Hollywood. It's another thing to live in a White House. But, and again, I'm not being political, but these are facts. One thing that they do, if they have an argument with you, and the worst thing you can do is shut them down. And that's really the only thing. You can't have them take pills. You can't have them go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, because they can't fix them. And a narcissist would never do that, because that would be admitting that they have a flaw. And they work on 2 ways: through association, to make themselves better. to make themselves bigger and better. They hang out with people that are less than them so they can feel the best. And they also try to hang out with people that are stars and big and better than them so they can feel up here. And
Oh,
they're,
and
crazy.
also people that stroke their ego for them.
That's what they want.
Oh yeah.
That's the blood of the vampirism of this, is that they will be nice to you in the beginning. They will love bomb you. That's where the word love bombing comes from. They will buy you gifts and they can be charming. They can have their moments, but in reality, they don't. They are all about themselves, and this is where the vanity that I thought it was just vanity. It's more than that. It's just, and it's all comes down from insecurity, and that they really hate themselves, so they have to work at being, big. I mean, this guy I was talking about. He was supposed to be doing uh, promotion for the show that I had, and he was supposed to talk to the newspaper people and do an interview about the show. And instead of doing an interview and talking about the show, he did an interview and talked about himself and his career and what he had done in the past and all this. And I picked up and I looked at the article. And I said, "Oh, and right here at the end, he goes, oh yeah, by the way, this show is in town and blah blah blah." But the whole article, he took something and turned it into him. And they also have a thing called, if you have a problem with them or you break up, uh, which is best to do if you can realize it. And there's traits, I'm not going to go over them here, but there are traits you can look up on YouTube. There's like 5 signs that someone's a narcissist. And people don't pay attention. People are arguing about Trump and stuff, and really all there is to say is that he's a sociopathic narcissist, and that's all. That's like trying to explain why a dog barks. Well, the dog was in the no, it's a dog, it barks. And that's what this is. But one thing they do is a thing called flying monkeys, and this is a psychological term for a tactic that narcissists use. If you have a little fight with them, they will go to mutual people that you know, but that you both know, and they will say to them, "Well, Bill, he screwed me out of $100, and he didn't give me the pot that he said he was going to give me, and he lied to me." And they tell these stories to other people who are stupid do-gooders, who are what they call in life peacemakers, and that's good. They're nice people, but that's the problem. They're nice people, so they listen to this bullshit that the narcissist spews out and thinks, well, I'll try to settle it for him. And so they'll call Bill up and go, "Bill, Larry told me that you owe him $100 and you didn't give him the pot. Well, maybe you could come to and I had a guy do this to a good friend of mine. I said, "Listen, I'm going to explain to you what this is, and right now, and you're swallowing it, hook, line, and sinker." So they try to get, and it comes from the Wizard of Oz, flying monkeys. When a wicked witch says, "I'll get you, my pretty, and I'm going to send those monkeys to fly," she sends flying monkeys, and that's what narcissists do. They send their little flying monkeys out to harass you and try to convince you. And it's like argument through proxy, and there's attacks. Men can be narcissists. Women can be narcissists. You can't take a pill. You can't go to a psychiatrist. You can't fix themselves. There are a few of the people I've read that have gotten to the point where they're self-aware, which is really unusual for narcissists, to know that they are a narcissist. And I would think that that's a step in the right direction. Like they say, the only way you can solve a problem is that if you recognize that you have a problem. And most narcissists never get anywhere near that, to admit that they, and if you somehow crack their little shell that they're in and expose their weaknesses, they hate you. Then they're very vindictive. They're childish. They throw fits. Does this sound familiar? And it's just, everything is just the way they act. And if you look at the parents, there's usually a narcissist, a mother or a father. And narcissists tend to produce narcissistic children, or at least if not narcissistic, then children that hate them. Anyway, it's nothing to laugh about, but that's what happens. And another thing is, the older they get, the worse it gets. In fact, a lot of them end up. What do you got to say now? You got to say unaliving themselves, because their brains have been going through all this stuff for years and years and building up this pile of bullshit about themselves that they themselves truly believe. And when it comes tumbling down, they have quite a catastrophic upheaving in their personality, and they expose themselves. They pull the curtain back, just like the Wizard of Oz. They pull the curtain back and expose the truth. So I'm telling you this because if you're a narcissist, then you're a terrible person. First, it's not going to do any good to say that to them, because they don't go, oh, yeah, Bill's right. So, but really what I'm doing is trying to expose other people to it so that they know about this. And it's really important, because these people, if they get into your life, if you have a relation, I was lucky enough to just have a business relationship. And this is a few years later, I still have a form of PTSD. And I understand now. I used to think PTSD, but I did. I had a hard time sleeping for a long time. I stay awake at night. I wake up in the morning, and it was quite traumatic until I got this person out of my life. And they always want to come back. They'll call you up a year later and try to sneak back in there and try to get you again. So I'm telling you, these are real people. They're like drunk drivers on the road. Not everybody's one of them, but be on the lookout for them, and don't let them get into your life. If anybody comes on too heavy at first, if you're a girl and some guys, hey, I would have buy you clothes and take you out and all this stuff, that's a red flag. Normal people don't act like that. And in reverse, if a guy meets a girl and she's just and just love bombs you, and the sex is immediately great within the first 3 hours. No, that's not necessary. But and they just love you, and they cling and stuff, and beware. That's not normal. That's not normal to be that attaching and that. But that's what they do. And then they will ruin your life. They will try to control you. They will just turn your life upside down. And it can ruin your life. It's like a disease. So far be it from me to be the final word on narcissism. I suggest you, if you're interested, or if you think you're involved with a narcissist, and again, people throw the word around. It's fairly rare, actually. And there's a couple times, but we're not going to get into it. There's covert narcissists, and but leave it at that. This is the 101. This is the course 101 on it. But if you're interested in this, and you should be, as you should educate yourself about people, this is something you should be aware of and be able to identify and not get tangled up with people like this, because it can ruin your life. Or if you get married to one, it can ruin your marriage, which will really ruin your life. So be careful and look, be aware. Be aware. It took me to 63, and thank God I didn't marry the guy. Are we about out of time there, Paul?
I was just going to give you a time marker. We're at 25 minutes.
Oh, we're at 25 minutes. Well, we can talk about other things then. Beware the Narcissist. Here, I'm going to pitch you another book. This is written by a friend of mine, actually. You know him. His name is Charles Fleischer.
Oh, yeah.
And his book is Out of My Mind. And
the voice of Roger the Rabbit.
The voice of Roger Rabbit. That's true. But I've known Charlie for 50 years at least. I first saw him at the Comedy Store, and he's a very unique human being. He has a TED Talk that he did. It's on YouTube. I highly recommend. He talks about Mo leads. He's famous for his Mo leads. He plays the harmonica. He plays the piano. He plays. He's a poet. He's a physicist. He's probably one of the smartest people I've ever known. I once had lunch with him and another guy who is a member of a think tank, and talk about feeling like the dumbest guy at the table. These two, but Charlie's quite a guy. I love him. Anyway, he wrote this book. You can get it on Amazon. It's a collection of short stories that came out of his mind. See, it's kind of a double entendre that he is out of his mind, but these stories are out of his mind. Oh, he's a great artist too. I mean, he's like a Renaissance man. He's just,
He does it all. He sings, he dances, he acts. Got it.
He does everything. He's a great actor. He's a poet. I can only stand to be around him about 3 hours. Him and Gallagher. He and Gallagher were a couple of people. It was just overload. Hey, look what I found in this book. I didn't know this. I have a note from the richest comedian in Hollywood. I just found it in this book. I tucked it away. It is a thank you card for being on his show when he had a talk show. Now he does. It's
there you go. That's the Byron Allen.
Byron Allen. This is from like 20 years ago when he had his talk show. And it says that this is something that nice hosts do when they have a talk show. They'll leave you a little note in the dressing room. And that's his fancy signature there.
There you go.
And happy birthday.
Funny. So he does it with a smiley face too. So I have a smiley
face. Oh yeah, look at it. Oh, it's wishing you a happy birthday.
There you go.
I didn't know that. I thought this was the card that was in the show, in the little green room. All right. Well, it's a birthday gift from Byron Allen to me.
There you go.
Little things. So anyway, that's the show for today. Thank you for listening. Don't get tangled with a narcissist. Read Charlie Fleischer's book. It's really out there. It's just like him. And pick this one up too. You pick this one up, you'll thank you. You'll always remember reading this book. So, Paul, that's another one in the can. Take care,
yes,
everyone.
Sir.
And, and see you next time on the Kirchenbauer Haffenhauer.
And here's all our socials, folks. Go like, subscribe, and ring that little bell.
Like and subscribe. Son of a bitches, I need more subscribers. Come on. Push your button.